Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Dana Perino, along with Judge Janine Pirro, Jessica Tarlov, Jesse Waters, and Greg Gutfeld. It's 5 o'clock in New York City, and this is The Five. A dramatic move from the January 6th committee today, just 26 days before the midterms. The panel voting unanimously to subpoena former President Donald Trump. And if President Trump does not appear or comply, the entire House could vote to hold him in contempt of Congress. But it's likely to be an uphill battle. The subpoena is set to expire by the end of this congressional session, and that's in January. This news coming as the White House gets rocked by the last inflation report before November 8th. Rising prices still at record highs, not showing any signs of coming down. But President Biden says America is making progress.
Today's report shows, though, some progress. Overall, inflation was 2% over the last 3 months. That's down from 11% over the prior 3 months. That's progress. Because of my economic plan, we are better positioned than any other major economy in the world to weather the challenges that come through this as a stronger country. If Republican wins, inflation is going to get worse. It's that simple.
It's that simple, Greg. Should we hit January 6th first?
Well, I don't know. I mean, that was a beautiful backdrop. It was very inspiring for everybody. And I think they should name it the Hunter inflation because it's always high, even when Joe claims it isn't. So I'm so surprised it was a unanimous vote for the subpoena.
Yeah,
and what a coincidence that it's happening, just a few weeks before the midterms. But what are they trying to do? I have a feeling that they're secretly trying to reelect Trump. Because this committee is proving what he and millions of pissed off supporters have always suspected, that the deck is stacked against them. This is a kangaroo court, right? Everybody there has their ideology, whether it's never Trumpism or the progressives. It's a stacked committee with preordained conclusions, with unlimited time and unlimited effort paid for by us, the taxpayer. So why would there be this outcome? Everybody sees this, and what they're in danger of doing is turning Trump into a martyr because they're proving the point that they swayed the election. We remember that story in Time magazine when they boasted about being a cabal, the media, the Democrats, the tech companies. This thing just reminds you that they're hunting Trump and hunting Trump supporters. I think, I think a lot of people think that DeSantis is a better choice. He's maybe a younger, smoother, more sophisticated candidate. But then you could have people that just say, screw it, I'm going to vote for Trump because these people are idiots. And this is a scam. They're martyring him.
Do you want to comment on January 6th, inflation, dealer's choice?
I am impressed with the Democrats, and I don't always say that, but they are so devious, they're so deceptive. They plot, they plan, they deceive. They knew this print was going to print hot today on inflation, and they timed this perfectly. Because this is going to probably blow out the inflation lead on the nightly news channels. And it's maybe a one-day thing, but they got what they wanted.
It did it here.
They did it here. It takes a little bit out of the number that dropped. And I sometimes wish that the Republicans could be as crafty as this. They were pretty crafty with the migrant flights to the vineyard, but they have to counterpunch huge. The bottom line is that everyone's losing money under Joe Biden. They're losing it from their paychecks. They're losing it from the stock market. People are losing their lives. We're losing our border. Little kids are losing their gender because they get stuffed in classrooms with grooming teachers. That has nothing to do today with everything else that the American public is experiencing. This Trump thing doesn't affect anybody. And the Democrats know that. But they don't want to solve any of the problems that they've created. They want to distract you with Trump so you don't think as much about all of the problems that they created. They're not about the people, they're about the power, and that's why they did to the Saudis what they impeached Trump for.
Right.
Remember, they said, I'm gonna withhold military aid to an ally in exchange for a political favor. What's the favor? Oh, you're gonna put more oil before the midterms to help the Democrats. They're actually blatantly announcing the shakedown, the quid pro quo. But no one cares. No one cares at all. It's funny because I would actually give them credit. If they want to investigate stuff and look back at stuff, let's do it. But they only want to look back at January 6th. They don't want to look back at the origins of COVID. They don't want to look back to where all the money went that we gave the teachers.
Yep.
They don't want to look at the Afghan debacle. They don't want to look at Hunter's laptop. They don't want to know anything that happened yesterday as long as it's named January 6th.
Judge, on the legal side, the subpoena enforceable, not enforceable?
Well, yeah, at some point it's enforceable, but what's going to happen is it's going to be delayed, and the Republicans are going to win the House, and that's going to be the end of it. I mean, you know, this is timed perfectly for today when they got the bad numbers today. And I got to tell you, I mean, I heard your interview with Jared Bernstein this morning.
Were you pulling your hair out?
Yeah, I was pulling my hair out, and I was trying not to yell at the television because every question you asked him, he said, you know, with the Inflation Reduction Act, you know, that the president has put in place that is reducing inflation. And I couldn't help but think that the president himself pretty much admitted it doesn't reduce inflation when he said in Maryland, he said, we passed the Inflation Reduction Act, which name doesn't matter to a whole lot of people, where he's basically admitting it doesn't reduce inflation. And we saved everything with the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. We dumped all that oil onto the world market so China could buy it. You know, it's like, it's amazing what is happening and how they try to spin it. But you got to give him credit. It's politics. That's what it is. But this thing with the subpoena is meaningless. I am sure Trump could care less about it. He's got a lot of issues right now. He's got Georgia going on. He's got Letitia James, the New York State Attorney General. He's got the classified document stuff. This is just parading around by people in Congress. It's the same group. You know, no Republicans other than Liz Cheney and what's his name? The crier.
Adam Kinzinger.
Yeah, Adam Kinzinger, right. So, I mean, he's not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. And I don't think this is going to work with the American people who know the gas is going up, food is going up, they can afford what they used to afford, and they've got 3 weeks to watch the prices go up.
And also housing affordability. So either your rent or now your mortgage at a 6.9%
That's right.
interest rate. Jessica, I'll give you the floor for the last word.
Thank you. So to the point about the deck stacked against him, these are all essentially Democrats, right? Because the 2 Republicans are rhinos or anti-Trumpers. Kevin McCarthy could have put Republicans on the panel. They rejected his initial proposals, and he could have put more on, and he didn't. And Donald Trump has even criticized him for that. So let's be clear about it. I've never said that January 6th would affect people's votes. You have a baked-in feeling about what you think about Donald Trump. If you thought the 2 impeachments before this were a good idea and they were important to do, then you think January 6th is an important thing to uncover what happened that day. And we'll see if they actually make criminal referrals to the DOJ or not. They might not do it. In terms of blocking out the inflation number, yes, our A block changed, right, because of this, and it's happening all across news. But that doesn't mean that the American public have lost sight of how their day went, right, how much their lunch cost, how much their gas tank cost, et cetera. And what's been really interesting to look at is inflation in the economy is the #1 issue, period, end of story. But what is ticking up is Joe Biden's personal approval numbers. And I actually didn't expect to see that. So now in the 538 average, it's at 45%. That's actually pretty good heading into a midterms when you have
That means the
control
media's
of
doing a good job. The media, that's a credit to the media.
or you're doing a bad job.
Jessica, all right.
Let's see
Try
that coming.
harder.
That is a good last word. All right,
Coming
up. End on your high note.
That was a great
Stuck the
backdrop.
landing.
Always leave on a good joke.
All right.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.